What's up, fans? Welcome to the Air It Out podcast, sponsored by Inside the Hashes. So, we're missing a little bit of people, but we got a lot of people here. We got a full panel for the most part here. And I mean, say welcome to the people, the one, the only, Juan. How we feeling today, my guy?
Pretty good. Really, really good. We're maybe down a person or two, but we got a great group of panelists here to deliver you the best football entertainment and commentary that has ever existed on the internet. Might be big hype, but I'm that confident.
Look, hey, confidence. That's what we need. That's what we here for. Say what's up to the people. Lister, number one in his division, Mr. Patriots himself, Mr. Darius. Yes. How you feeling this morning, man?
I'm feeling good, man. It's like you said, I knew we was gonna be number one in the division. I didn't think it was gonna be like this, but I'm excited to talk football with the guys. I'm ready, man. Let's get it. We got a great couple of topics. We got some stuff that we're gonna talk about and all that good stuff. And Darren might surprise you guys with a hot take. We'll see what happens, but I'm ready. Let's get it.
Listen, that hashtag, man. That hashtag 50 might pop out once in a while. Just saying.
You have to give up that dream.
I was waiting for it. The
dream has to die on that.
Listen, never going to die. But I mean, we started off with the number one in the division, Patriots. So that's a perfect segue right into Thursday night recap. Bills versus Texans, battle of the AFC. That one went a little bit different than we all expected, clearly. Bills won 23. No, I'm sorry. The Texans won 23-19. And Josh Allen did not look superhero in this game. He looked pretty average, if I can say the least, against that vaunted defense. So, gentlemen, let's talk about it. What is going on with the Bills? Or the Texans, is the Texans defense just that good? I'm gonna throw it over to you first, Darius, as the resident AFC East guy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say it right now. The Patriots broke Buffalo in week 5. No. What the Texans did was what every team should do when they play Josh Allen. They blitzed him a lot. When you watch that game, it was a lot of blitzing. And it's trusting that Buffalo doesn't have anyone in a receiver core to make any plays, right? Keon Coleman, healthy scratch, 2 straight games. Who's the next man up? Who is going to make a play? Gabe Davis, who they brought back, he didn't make a play. Khalil Shakur, he was involved, but he's not a deep threat. He's not somebody who is going to make a play. So the Buffalo Bills, the number one priority for them is find them a wide receiver, a legitimate number one wide receiver like they had with Stephon Diggs, because if they did have Stephon Diggs, the Texans are not going to blitz that much. But you can blitz that much, play man coverage, when Buffalo does not have a wide receiver. They were not able to run the ball outside of James Cook running for that 47-yard touchdown in the first quarter. They shut him down, right? Will Anderson Jr. had a phenomenal game. That Texans defense is always going to be legitimate just because DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded coach. And give it up for Davis Mills. He played very, very well. He didn't do too much. He didn't do too less. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. And he's 3-0 as the starter. Now, there ain't no conversations in Houston. We know C.J. Stroud is the quarterback. But for a backup quarterback, he's doing everything you're asking him to do, especially when your star quarterback is out with a concussion. And the Texans, I mean, the AFC is a tough conference, but look out. They're sneaking in there, and their schedule is pretty favorable. I think they can make some noise. You still got to play the Colts twice, but if they can split the series with the Colts, they possibly can win a division. But shout out to the Texans getting a huge win and an upset against the Buffalo Bills.
Now let me clarify my previous statement. The resident AFC East division leader, because we all know the one, the only, is a pure-hearted Jets fan. It's a little.
Do not let the Cardinals jersey fool you from what I'm wearing. I'm only wearing it because I support Larry Fitzgerald, and I just wanted to represent a GOAT on the podcast today. Because why not? Why not bring a GOAT discussion into a GOAT discussion? But that's besides the point.
Talk to me, Juan.
I gotta say, man, watching this game, it left me with the same message that every football fan should know. Defense wins games and championships. I'm not saying the Texans are exactly championship contenders. just yet, but that defense sure is a championship contender in and of itself. Sacking Josh Allen a career record 8 times, 2.5 by Will Anderson, 2 by Danielle Hunter, and everyone else either got 1 sack or half a sack, including a shout out to Jerome, Derek Barnett, former Eagles first round pick and Super Bowl hero against Tom Brady. They kept Buffalo 0-2 in the red zone. Do you know how hard it is to keep Josh Allen out of the red zone, especially when he's such a dual threat quarterback, not just with the power of his arm, but how he can bull rush you with his legs and in that 6'7" frame. And then not to mention, not to mention the shout out to special teams for that kick return touchdown for the Texans. Usually when special teams gets involved, the other team is usually coming out the winner just because you're sucking out the momentum in the air out of your opponent. I know that Darius touched a lot about what the Bills are missing. I think the biggest thing that the Bills are like lacking is, like you said, is a premier wide receiver one, a premier weapon. I know that having James Cook to help get the run game going is ideal. He went over 100 yards on this game. But you need a wide receiver one to get Josh Allen going. You need a premier good 50-50 ball wide receiver to complement Khalil Shakir, and it's just not there. Yeah, you said Keon Coleman might have been that weapon, but there's some maturity issues happening there. How he's missing team meetings and thinking that it's not really that big of a deal. And who else is going to step up? The next leading receiver in that game was the running back Ty Johnson. You cannot have your second string running back be your second leading receiver in the game. You need people to step up, especially with your tight ends. I know Dawson Knox, shout out ITH guy, was on the field, but he's clearly not the tight end one there anymore. I forget the name of the other tight end that they drafted a couple years ago, but he is definitely the second target weapon for Josh Allen. He just wasn't in the game today. Over on the Texans side of things, no QB controversy happening in Houston. Davis Mills, like you said, is serviceable, but CJ Stroud, when he comes back, I think now he was getting into a bit of a groove before he had that concussion against Denver. Hopefully, the momentum can continue for Houston just enough to where they can sneak into the playoffs, but we'll have to see because you still have Jacksonville to contend with.
Listen, it's going to be a tough division race over there. They're all doing pretty well right now. The Jaguars, the Colts, and the Texans coming up sneakily after starting off pretty, honestly, just like our Ravens, 1-4. But I'm going to hit you right here, and this is where I'm landing. I think this is more about what the Bills have not done rather than what the Texans have done. And I'll put it like this. When Stephon Diggs left the Bills, since Stephon Diggs has left the Bills, this has been Josh Allen every single night. Every single night. Because what Brandon Beane has not done is given him someone that can beat press coverage. They have not signed any receivers or any big threats that is able to truly win on third down when the ball needs to go in the air. You have a top-tier quarterback in Josh Allen, and you have surrounded him with tight ends and running backs. Where have we seen this happen? Where have we seen that that's not a recipe to win the Super Bowl? Our Baltimore Ravens, people. So again, we need, or let me phrase that, Josh needs a number one target. We already went through Mac Hollins before, Khalil Shakir, Gabe Davis. These are guys that, yes, they're serviceable as number 2 and number 3 options, but they are not a number 1. When on third down, you know you have to beat press coverage. In the old day, they always said that you need one elite guy that can be that top tier A receiver. That top tier A receiver, he beats press coverage in third down, first down, second down, consistently. They don't have that right now. Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, they're not producing like they should, especially with Dalton Kincaid coming back from a slight injury. It's just not working. They already was down Deion Dawkins, so that's definitely going to hurt. And that leads directly into 8 sacks of a line that, honestly, is just not performing the way they did last year. The Bills are not setting themselves up. They think that their window is still open, and it is not. their best bet was 2 years ago. Their best bet to make the Super Bowl and win it was 2 years ago. This is not a championship roster, and this is not going to win it for them. The Texans have shown that that's not going to happen.
I disagree that the window is closing for Buffalo. I think there's still. I think so long as Josh Allen is your quarterback, you'll always have a chance. Similar to how Cincinnati has Joe Burrow when he's on the field, of course. But I do agree there, coach. Excuse me. That this team is not built well for a championship contender. It's old. It's lacking in a lot of different fields, and right now, with the salary cap that they have, this year they only have about $2 million in salary cap. That's not enough to buy you a wide receiver one to help set you up for success. Like if the Bills want to be able to build around Josh Allen, they need to get the cap space back they gave him for the big contracts that they gave him. So unless he's willing to take a pay cut, I don't know how they're going to be able to build around him. I mean, they can do it to the draft, but so far they haven't shown a propensity to really build around the draft with him.
All I did was talk about offense. You don't want me to talk about the aging defense that they've been watching age out between the corners, the safeties, the Jordan Poyers going and leaving, between the Micah Hyde no longer there, between now having Von Miller, Joey Bosa, these older guys that already have injury issues coming in. You watch Matt Milano get old on y'all. They're watching Tyron Johnson get old. They watch Trey White get old. It's not a recipe for what they need to do. Their window is basically almost closing until they fix the salary cap. Until they fix this salary cap issue. A great quarterback can get you to the playoffs, but you also need a defense and some type of supporting cast to win the whole thing. And if you think that's not the case, 2015 should have told you better.
That window is closed. That window closed. I want to say last year, and I'm gonna just take out the Patriots for a second. But if you look at where the AFC is going, right? No one thought the Colts were gonna be as good. Now, granted, Jonathan Taylor is playing phenomenal and has he's gonna make a clear case argument for MVP. He's probably not gonna get it because it's a quarterback award, and we know that. But you gotta look at the Colts, right? The Broncos and Bo Nix, you still can't count out KC. No matter what their record is, you still can't count them out. All those teams they have either a legitimate, like a good wide receiver, or their defense is really good. Buffalo does not have neither of those things. Buffalo's defense, like you said, they're aging. They're getting old. You watch them; they look tired. You're going up against a backup quarterback. Davis Mills should not have looked as good as he looked going up against a backup quarterback on a short week, right? So, granted, like Juan said, $2 million in cap space. You cannot get a wide receiver one. Josh Allen is going to have to take a pay cut. If he wants to win a Super Bowl, if he wants that window to stay open or whatever the case may be, the GM is going to be like, listen, hey, you got to take a pay cut so we can build around you, right? If you don't do that, then we're gonna have to go through the draft and hope and develop players. A guy like Keon Coleman, that's not it. He can't even be on time for player meetings. You want him to go out there and be your legitimate number one wide receiver? Come on now.
Take a page out of the greatest of all times books. There's if Tom Brady could take pay cuts for the Patriots to build around.
That's why I said take the Patriots out.
And you're married to Haley Steinfeld, one of the greatest actresses and most beautiful actresses of our generation. You're telling me she's not bringing in bank for you to have to take a pay cut? Seriously.
Put in a signing bonus. You know what I mean?
If I'm Josh Allen, I'm not just taking a pay cut, though. I'm taking a pay cut, but I'm also going to say I need input. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I know what I need. You have pieces around me, but you're not filling in the pieces I truly need.
Now,
give me your number one receiver and go fix my defense. Get some of these aging guys out, get young guys in here, and deliver through the draft. That's what they need.
Now, let me toss this at you. Should there be a change in head coach, maybe?
I think it's time.
Is the Sean McDermott era over?
I think it's time.
Had 8 years to get Buffalo over the hump. The most he's gotten is the AFC Championship. We don't even know if they'll make the playoffs this year based on the current pace of schedule that they have, and especially with the rest of the AFC kind of performing around them. Let's not forget how. Yeah, I don't know, Alan. Like you would think that after the. Yeah, I think everyone gave Brandon Beane the benefit of the doubt too much when it came to drafting and building during the Stephon Diggs trade. And while Josh Allen was able to have an MVP season without Stephon Diggs, it's safe to say that it wasn't really worth it if you don't have wide receiver one to throw to and get the targets enough to get you over the hump to do so. I think Josh Allen would trade that MVP for a Super Bowl if he wanted to. I genuinely do believe that. Also, if I may say, it may sound a little far-fetched, but if Buffalo continues down the downward trend, could that possibly leave the door open for a surging Miami Dolphins team? I mean, we got to look at that for a second. If I could pose it to you, if you look at the remaining schedule and the pace that they're going with, they've won 3 of their last 4. They're up against the Saints, the Jets, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Bucks, and the Patriots to end the year, man. Like if Buffalo's not careful, they could get overtaken by freaking Tua Tagovailoa.
Dolphins are getting hot at the right time when it's not
exactly.
how you start.
It's not about how good you are at the start. It's how you end.
How you finish. Yep, I agree.
You, out of all people, should know, Coach, with how your Ravens are playing.
Listen here. There is one thing between the Ravens and the Dolphins that are never going to be the same. They have Tua and we have Lamar. Who do we honestly trust better to be consistent? Who do we honestly say, hey, I'm going to pick this guy to lead my team and know I'm going to have a chance to win no matter what the score is? I ain't saying that about Tua, but I'm dang going to sure say it about Lamar.
You can say about Devon Achane, though.
If they can block for him, I give you that. If they can block for him, that if is the biggest part. But listen, I digress. So we do got to move on, people. We do got to move on. We don't want to have this be, the AFC East title thing. Because we do kind of got to go over to my AFC North for a second here. On last week, Dylan Gabriel knocks out the game. The watch, people. It gets flexed. It comes out. But it does not do too much. He still lost, unfortunately, in his debut. But Shedeur Sanders is making an appearance. So are we going to see showing the watch on this Sunday? What are we going to see? So, Juan, talk to me. What do you think Shedeur will do in his first real NFL game start of his career?
I think he'll win, but he will not be the reason for it. Watching him play against the Ravens, how do you go 4 of 16 for 47 yards and an interception against a Ravens defense that is admittedly good, but soft enough to where you can at least put garbage stat numbers against them? Frankly, it looked like he was blindsided by the moment when he stepped on the field to begin with. He still had the same traits that he had problems with during the preseason that a lot of people have been saying he still needs to work on. He was slow in his progression and decision making, held onto the ball too long. His throwing motion was just as slow as a lot of people had said. Not to mention, it just seemed that he just was stunned by the moment. He was ready. It felt like he was always ready, that he was willing to step out there. It just felt like there was crashing waves around him, just drowning him in the moment. Stepping onto an NFL field with the speed and pace that you're going against, especially with Kyle Hamilton coming at you at 20 miles an hour, he was not ready for that. With the hype of him coming into the season, of why he hasn't been getting the reps and why he hasn't been getting the practice with the first teams? What backup gets practice with the first teams? That's not normal. Everyone keeps complaining that the Browns are trying to set Shedeur up for failure. No, it's not. Shedeur is just not good enough yet to start an NFL game. He came into this game raw. He came into the league still having a lot of deficiencies that Kevin Stefanski has to work out of him, and he has to be willing to put in the work to do so. And I have to say, based on like tape by tape comparison, Dylan Gabriel did look better than Shador when playing because he has quick decision making. Maybe not the strongest arm, but enough to know to just dump the ball down instead of waiting for the big play to open up. For me, like the whole hype around Shador Sanders has been very reminiscent of another controversial quarterback that everyone thought should have got playing time, but didn't exactly deserve it because of how bad his play was. May I remind you of Tim Tebow? So basically, I feel that when Shador steps on the field Sunday when he's up against I forget who Cleveland.
The Raiders.
When he's up against the Raiders, he will not be the reason that they win. I think it's going to be a ground and pound style game for the Browns, as well as one of the dominant defenses in the NFL, crushing a pitiful Raiders team.
Darius, talk to me because I got something to say about it, but I'm gonna hold off for a second. Talk to me, Darius.
I agree with Juan with almost everything he said, and I don't really agree with Jets fans on a lot of things, but this time I do. The main thing we have to remember with Shador, the issues he had coming out, right? Juan hit it on the nail. Now, granted, when he came in the game against a Baltimore Ravens defense may not be the elite Ravens defense that they are, but you still got some dogs back there. You still got Kyle Hamilton, you still got Roquan Smith, you got Nate Wiggins, you got Marlon Humphrey. Let's not act like the Ravens defense is the bottom of the barrel, right? They're not Dallas Cowboys defense. So yeah, when he came in the game, he didn't look well. Now going up against this game against the Raiders defense isn't the Baltimore Ravens. They're not even the top 10, top 5 defense. Now, if I'm the coach, all I'm telling Shador is don't turn the ball over. Take what the defense is giving you. We're going to ground and pound the ball. Our defense is going to keep us in this game. Just do not turn the ball over. That's all Shador has to do. Don't try to make any flashy plays. Don't try to take, shots down the field. Just take what the defense is giving you. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to win this game because of Myles Garrett and our stifling defense. If he does that, I think now the narrative starts to change just a little bit, especially if he's efficient with his throws, right? If he comes out first drive, let's say 6 for 6, 45 yards and an opening drive touchdown, right? Now you build off that. You got a little bit of confidence. I think this could be a confidence game for him as well. But now it just kind of depends on how he performs, because if he performs really well, you don't have a quarterback controversy, but they're going to make it a quarterback controversy just because of his name. But I want to see him go out there. I want to see him get a win. I want to see him kind of, make some plays and, flash the watch, show the wrist, and, get in the end zone, man. Just have fun overall. I just want him to have fun and, play the game that he loves to do and just build off of that. And you really, take advantage of the opportunity that's given to him.
All right. What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all today, man? Like, is this AFC East podcast or something? Like, this is crazy here, because the fact that both of y'all agree that Shador is not deserving of a chance. He shouldn't have been getting repped, and he's just
I
not
say that.
here, and he's just not better than Dylan Gabriel.
He's not. He's not.
It's crazy to me.
Tape in between and tell him that
have we seen the tape of Dylan Gabriel when he has missed clear, wide open guys? We have to talk about not just the standard of college and being able to be good there, what you did there. We're talking in the NFL. And right now, Dylan Gabriel is missing too many NFL throws. Plain and simple. I don't care the supporting cast you have around you, because you don't have just some crap around you. You at least have a guy in Jerry Jeudy we know can reduce in between. We know we have David Njoku. And Quinshon Judkins has showed to be a reliable, if not bright future at the running back spot. That Cleveland Browns offensive line is actually pretty solid still. So they have weapons to actually produce. But the only thing that I will give Dylan Gabriel over Shador Sanders is his mobility. He is much more mobile of a quarterback than Shador Sanders, and that's not a question for me. He can extend with the plays with his legs, or he can run the ball a little bit more efficiently. But when it comes to decision making, if you go up against a team that Yes, they were not doing well in the beginning, but in the last 6 weeks, they have been at least top 10 in almost every category defensively. And in the last 2 games, they've only let up no more than an average of 11 points. When Shedeur came in, we went from a zone, we're not going to let you beat us over the top. We don't care about a field goal. We'll let that happen. To, okay, we're blitzing the house almost every other down. You have no chemistry with the first unit. There's no other expectation that this was going to happen. He had no time to prepare properly to come into a game like this, especially against a division rival. We have to understand, again, these are division rivals. They're going to play a lot harder against one another. So the way that they did him and had him come in with basically going from round the ball, check it down, easy, play action, to almost completely different. All shotgun, drop back passes. They didn't run their offense with him. There were 2 different offenses. So we have to understand, we can't just say Shedeur is not there. He's not getting shown or put in a position to show what he actually can do. That's my issue. I'm sorry.
You're saying that they run 2 different offenses, but how well does Shedeur fit into Kevin Stefanski's offense to begin with? Does the Stefanski offense match his play style? I don't necessarily think so. I think they had to change the offense his play style. And
if that was the case, why draft him?
Who might have been just the owner.
I believe that wasn't a Kevin.
That had to be a Jimmy Haslam decision, coach. It was not a coach. Let me put it this way. This is the Cleveland Browns we're talking about. This is not exactly a well-run organization from the top down. Okay. I refuse to lay any blame on Kevin Stefanski for the job that he's done. He's done everything he can with what he works with to try to make that organization successful. Outside forces have otherwise made it impossible for him to do his job. They would think he screwed up the Baker Mayfield situation, but that's a whole other issue to talk about for another day. I think as a talent evaluator, with what he's had to work with between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, when he thought who gave him the best chance to win with the scheme that he runs and the offense that he has, Dillon Gabriel gave him the best chance. I'm not going to fault him for that. I think that if he thought Dillon Gabriel was going to be his franchise and Shedeur would have been the backup and he rolled with that decision, that's fine, because he's probably not the one that chose Shedeur in the first place. I genuinely believe that if Stefanski thought that Shedeur Sanders had any possibility of being his quarterback, he would have repped him more and actually had a QB controversy. But he didn't, because he doesn't, and he doesn't have to. All right. If Shedeur wants to show that he wants to be the starter for the Browns, he has to keep showing it. He has to keep proving it within the organization. So far, it doesn't seem like he's made that impression.
Sorry, man. Listen, I feel
well put. Juan.
You know what? I'm gonna make it real clear and simple. One, the Browns is a crappy organization, and they set this man up for failure from the get-go by drafting him. They never thought he does not fit their system. It does not work. That's the first thing. Second, I do believe he'll win this weekend. I believe he'll win this weekend because they're playing against the Raiders. The Raiders are one of the worst run organizations, just like the Browns. And right now, it's really a toss-up on who might get number one, because both of them are terrible. Actually, I'm sorry. There's still the Titans out there. But, I digress.
Don't forget the Jets.
Nah, y'all might win at least 1 or 2 more games. I'm going to get y'all at least 1 or 2 more. I don't know about the rest of them, though. But, yeah, listen. We've already seen the Jets surprise us with all these special teams and randomness. They're starting Tyrod Taylor. There's no more Justin Fields. So, hey, again, they might can eke out 1 to 2.
Fail for Ferdinand. Fail Ferdinand. Give me the Cuban in New York, man. Come on.
Listen, I wouldn't be mad at it. But the Browns gotta do better. Y'all gotta run y'all offense. Let Shedeur show what he can do. If he can't do it in your offense, let it be shown so he can now move to somewhere that is possibly better for his skill set. Because right now, this isn't fair to him, and it's not going to give y'all the best chance to win if you don't run it the right way. So that's all I'm going to say. Don't want to make this podcast all show to watch. But, we do need to talk about some other things, particularly there's a lot of teams that we thought coming in this year were going to be powerhouses. Some we didn't even expect. AFC, NFC. We really need to figure out, y'all, who's going to make the dance or who won't make the dance. So we're going to have 3 teams from the AFC, 3 teams from the NFC, and we're going to try to figure out who won't make the dance. So currently in the hunt in the AFC, everybody, we have the Ravens, we have the Chiefs, and we have the now 6-5 Texans. All 3 of those teams just before Thursday night was 5-5 going into this week, and all looking outside of the playoffs. So by end of the year, those 3 teams, who do we think won't make the playoffs? I want to start with you, Juan, on this one. Who won't make the playoffs in the AFC?
I got to go with the Chiefs. I do genuinely believe this is going to be the first year Patrick Mahomes misses the playoffs. If you look at how things have been trending for the Chiefs this year, especially when it came to one-score games, they have been just awful in the clutch. Last year, when they were playing in one-score games, they were undefeated in all of them. They somehow found some voodoo black magic to get them over the hump and get them back to the Super Bowl last year. I think that looks right now. They are 0-5 this year when it comes to one-score games. And if you look at the schedule that they have, it's not exactly a gauntlet, but it's enough to where you are concerned that there might not be enough wins on this schedule to sneak them in. You have the Colts, the hot Colts coming in this week. And then after that, you have the Cowboys, who might not have the best defense, but they have a high-flying offense enough to tear you apart and have to force Mahomes into a shootout. You have the Houston Texans with their dominant defense, the Chargers, who I still believe are good in this division enough to upset the Chiefs again, this time on their home turf. The Titans, I'll give you the win on that one. Denver, I don't think so. And then you end the year with the Raiders. So basically, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm looking like at a 2-5 record to end the schedule for the Chiefs this year. It's an aging core of vets for the offense. The receivers aren't picking up the slack enough to really make a difference. Rashid Rice is your number one, but you haven't been giving him the targets that he needs in order to produce like one. You're still heavily favoring an aging Travis Kelce, who's had a pretty good, quiet year. Let's not underscore the contributions of Travis Kelce, but you're not developing your young targets. And the defense isn't as dominant as it used to be. The scheme is still great, and the pass rush is still pretty nice, but the secondary has just been failing for the Chiefs. I genuinely believe that after this year, there's going to be some major changes coming to the Chiefs. There has to be. Because they cannot keep striding along, going through the regular season, thinking it'll just get them into the postseason. Because that's not how the world works anymore. There's more contention in the AFC. You have to keep up.
Darius, talk to us. What do you think? Who is not going to make it? Because I'm loving the sound of this Chiefs not making it. I'm loving this right now.
I mean, me and Juan, we in sync today because I agree. Like, Kansas City, I think Andy Reid sold his soul for those back-to-back Super Bowls, right? I think he did. But no, in all seriousness, when you look at the AFC, they're not winning the division, right? Denver, and you still got Chargers. When you look at under them, they're currently the 9th seed. They go up against the Colts this Sunday. The Colts ain't no slot. Oh, and the Colts are coming off a bye week. So they're healthy. They're ready. The Baltimore Ravens play the New York Jets at home. So you think the Ravens should win that game. Should win that game, right?
Will.
Kansas City has a tough matchup. And then once you still have Dallas, Patrick Mahomes does not have the offense to get in a shootout. Not anymore. He does not. That defense, Steve Spagnuolo, that defense, no one's scared of that defense anymore. That was the kind of the heartbeat of their team when, you know, last season, that kind of carried them to the Super Bowl was the defense. No one's scared of Kansas City anymore. When you see Kansas City, you're like, oh, we still got to play Pat Mahomes, but that's it. You got an aging Travis Kelce who's 37, who's got a decision to make this offseason. Is he going to retire? You haven't, and your young players have not been producing. Rashid Rice missed the first 6 games. The first game he came back, I believe he had 2 or 3 touchdowns. And everybody thought, okay, the Kansas City offense is back. Then they played Denver and they lost. 0-5 in one-score games. And the playoffs, most of the time, we see a lot of one-score games in the playoffs. So me personally, I think it's going to be Kansas City. I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be in a big rebuild, but I think there's going to be a lot of questions in the offseason. And honestly, I think it's going to be time to have your question. Is it time for Coach Andy Reid to maybe possibly hang it up after this season and maybe give the reins over to someone else? He's already got 3 Super Bowls, so he doesn't need to coach for anything else. But there's going to be a lot of decisions that's going to be made this offseason. And I think the biggest thing Kansas City needs from an offensive standpoint is something they are missing since Tyreek Hill left. They need a wide receiver. Get Pat Mahomes a wide receiver, the rest will take care of itself. But I got them missing the playoffs.
I did want to add one more thing. You better hope that the Ravens win out for the rest of this season, Coach, because if KC somehow does get back on track, they own the tiebreaker over your Ravens.
And we still gotta go to M&T Bank Stadium. Drake May, you're gonna have them MVP chants. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm gonna make this very clear for y'all. First off, we are all on the same page here. Chiefs not making the playoffs. Let's just call it what it is. This might be the first unanimous decision by us here on Air It Out. But Chiefs, I don't believe we'll make the playoffs from a lot of reasons that you guys said. The schedule, who they have to play, when they have to play them. And then you have to look at the teams that are not the Chiefs that's fighting against it. The Texans, we see, are actually climbing up in that division and have a very sneaky chance to make it in. The Baltimore Ravens, even with the Packers and the Patriots, the rest of the teams that we play are below 500. It's a lot easier of a schedule for us, including the fact that we're still 2-0 in our division, and we're about to play coming up 2 against the Bengals and 2 against the Steelers. If we can go at least 2-2 or 3-1 in those 4 games, that is the division. We're now looking at the wild card. So I'm loving our chances. But the Chiefs are the only one I'm a little bit more fearful of because, well, you got to think the AFC, yes, they're not the strongest, but the Bills are going to take one of those wild card spots. I don't see the Patriots losing that division, so I know that they're going to get in. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that's known to somehow sneak into the playoffs every single year. But this year might not be one of those. But between those, the Jaguars, the Texans, and you still have that 3-headed monster with the Denver Chargers and you guys at the Chiefs. That's too many teams. There's going to be some downfall on some, and some are going to rise up. The league always changes. So AFC, I see the Chiefs not making it. I see the Chargers making it. I see maybe the Jaguars sneaking in with the Colts. And I see the Bills and the New England Patriots. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know about anybody else.
To kind of add to Darius' point, whoever, if and when Coach Reid does step down, I hope that the last 2 offensive coordinators that they've had aren't the ones he gives the reins to, specifically Eric Bieniemy and Matt Nagy. Especially don't give it to Matt Nagy, man. I do not think he is NFL head coach material. Maybe Eric Bieniemy because he never really had a fair shake or a fair chance to really prove himself outside of it. And just to see what he's made of. But if there is a move, if there is a change in leadership in Kansas City, it'll be interesting to see how they mesh with Patrick Mahomes, especially because in order for the Chiefs offense to work, it has to work through Patrick Mahomes. And the only person that seems to be able to unlock the potential but the power that Mahomes has and always will be Andy Reid. So whoever steps in for Reid has to be able to speak Mahomes' language.
All right. So let's go ahead and move over to the NFC side. In the NFC side, we can just cut this out now, y'all. There's no other team other than the Eagles and the NFC East that's going to make it. This really is like a 2-horse race between 2 different events on who's taking up the most spots. We have the NFC North with the Bears at 7-3, the Packers at 6-3-1, and then you had the Detroit Lions at 6-4. Then you also have in the NFC West the Rams 8-2, the Seahawks 7-3, and the 49ers at 7-4. That's a lot of teams that just can't make it. So I'm going to say the Packers, the Lions, and I'm going to throw this team in there because sneakily they have been a team that's been surprisingly good all year. The Panthers. Out of those three teams, who will not make it? Because I'm going to bet my money that the NFC West will have three teams in there. So between the Packers, the Lions, and the Panthers, who do we think will not make the playoffs? Darius, I'm going to start this one with you. Who we thinking?
Man, I was going to say special shout out to them boys in Carolina. Them boys playing a surprise team this year. I was not expecting them to play. And shout out to Bryce Young, over 300 yards last week. And
over 400.
Atlanta Falcons. Like, hashtag 350. That's the
over
hashtag
400.
Oh,
that's the best part. It was over 400. I don't think 350. 350 don't do it justice. 350 won't do it justice.
Yes, that was his breakout game. But the team I think that's going to miss the playoffs just because of how they're playing. Now, granted, they have an easy matchup on Sunday. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions are going to miss the playoffs. And I think the team that's going to overtake them, I think the Carolina Panthers are going to get in. I genuinely think the Carolina Panthers is probably, to me, the most surprising team this year outside of the Colts, just because of what they've been able to do with the quarterback and not really having a legitimate number one. And then Chuba Hubbard, he went down, right? And then Rico came in, and now he was top 5 in rushing yards, and that defense is finally gelling. But the Detroit Lions, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think, hot take, I know it's early, but I think their window also is closing now just because of what is going on in the NFC, right? Like, the Chicago Bears are playing really, really well. The Green Bay Packers, you still got Jordan Love, you still got Matt LaFleur. That defense is pretty well. There's no way 3 teams in the NFC North is making the playoffs. So I can see the Detroit Lions finishing with a winning record, but missing the playoffs because I think the Carolina Panthers, Carolina Panthers have a swagger. They got some confidence, and I think they want it more than the Detroit Lions. And I think the Detroit Lions, even though they played the New York Giants, I think that's going to be a tougher game than a lot of people think. So I can see the Carolina Panthers sneaking in. I can see the Detroit Lions not making the playoffs this year.
Okay. That's a take right there. Okay. We're going to talk about that in a second. But Juan, highlight this. Talk to us. Who are we thinking will not make the playoffs?
I was prepared to agree with Darius with it. I even said it before the show even started. But I think that the team that will make the playoffs will be the Chicago Bears. I don't think the Bears are going to make it. And simply off the fact of the schedule that they've had and what they have left. You tell me how these are dominant wins when you barely beat the Vikings 19-17 against 9, leading a Vikings team down the field. When you almost lose to the New York Giants, when you get into a shootout with Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals and barely make it out of that. All right, or when you almost lost to the Commanders in a really weird rainy night game in DC. And those are the wins. Let me tell you what the rest of the schedule looks like. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up next. You have the Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cleveland Browns. All 3 of those last 3 teams I just mentioned have top 10 defenses in the NFL. Then you have the Packers again. Then you have the 49ers, who are known to be a well-rounded defensive unit despite missing so many key pieces. And then you finish off the year with the Lions, who smacked you in their own house in week 2. You tell me in all of that, there's one win in that whole schedule, and it's probably this one that's coming up. The rest, I can't see it because this Chicago Bears this Chicago Bears team in general. I'll give them credit for how they've started the year and how they've been able to gain the momentum that they need and win the wins that they need to get. But they are still a very young team. Caleb Williams is still a very young quarterback. He's got the talent. He's got great instincts when it comes to escaping the pocket, but he's still inconsistent when he throws the ball. All right. And the defense is missing so many key players, especially 3 of your starting middle linebackers are not there. Yes, you're getting Jalen Johnson back from injury, so that shores up the secondary really well, but it's still not performing to where it's supposed to. I think this team is still another year away from even making a playoff spot. But as far as contending, I think we're about to see a bear skid coming down the pipeline. Because remember, it's not how you start, it's how you end. And I think this is going to end poorly in Chicago.
This is craziness right here. This is crazy.
I like it. Spicy.
This is. Whew, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight, y'all. We all assume that the Panthers is getting in the playoffs, yes?
The what? Panthers?
Would you agree? Panthers getting in the playoffs.
I want to say yes. I want to see Bryce Young make a playoff run, man. Like, I've been rooting for Bryce Young since day one.
Cool. And we all believe there's going to be 3 NFC West teams in the playoffs, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How come we all got a different team in the NFC North we do not trust? How do we all have different NFC North teams we do not trust? So we got the Bears down low with Juan. We got the Lions over here with Darius. I'm going with the Packers on this one, y'all. I'm sorry. Let's really talk about it. So right now, the Packers, the rest of their schedule, they have to place 9. 9 is going to lose this game. It is what it is. But it is going to be an entertaining good game because it is a division matchup. And we can't forget, Brian Flores had a great defense over there with the Vikings. Even for all the things that go on, things they're susceptible to. That team is still a great defense when they play. Then, directly after that, they play the Lions. They lost. The Lions lost early on, opening game. They're coming for payback, and they're going to split that division. I don't see the Packers being dominant enough to sweep that division with them. And then you have directly after the Bears, the Broncos, and then the Bears again. The Bears, in any other year, would be losing all of these games, these one-score games, these high shootout games. What is happening? They are finding a way to win. The same way that we say with the Eagles that, hey, these games aren't pretty that they're winning, but they're winning the game. We have to give that same respect to a team like the Bears that have been known to not do it. They are showing the ability to do it. When it's time, they're making the plays. They're making the kicks, particularly the kicks. You have to give them credit for that. So they're not going to go ahead and overrun the Packers. So that's another 1-1. And then I don't see them beating the Broncos. We know the Broncos are fourth quarter clutch only, and they are carrying a defense that holds them to that fourth quarter. They have to play the Ravens, who by that time will have rattled off another 4 to 5 wins. The only other loss might be you guys, Darius. I don't know about y'all. Y'all a little iffy for me. So we might lose, we might win that game. I'm a little iffy. But again, then you're coming and playing the Ravens. Sorry, I don't think they're winning that game either. And then they end the year off versus 9. 9 is the only thing right now that is saving them. But I don't see them beating the Lions. I don't see them beating the Bears twice, if once at all. And I don't see them beating the Broncos or the Ravens. That's 4 losses. That's 4 losses and only, 2 wins? Maybe 3? I don't see these Packers playing and getting into the playoffs. I think they're a well-built team, but between the injuries that they're getting on offense, the inconsistencies, and the ability not to still have a number 1 receiver, and you have 5 or 6 receivers that can all be a number 1, makes no sense. You can't have a Romeo Doubs, a Christian Watson, a Matthew Golden, a Tucker. Like, you have too many pieces and you're still not doing it. A Dontrevious Wicks. Like, where is it? We talk all this good stuff about Jordan Love, but he's not Favre. He's not Rodgers. He's Love, and it's not the same. He might have some of the same characteristics, but he ain't showing the same ability.
couple notes on the pack. Jordan Love is more so like Jeff Garcia than he is Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. He's good, but he's not lead an offense good.
He's Alex Smith good.
Then
He managed the game.
it doesn't help that Green Bay is also missing their top two weapons. Neither of them are a wide receiver. Tucker Kraft's out for the season. Who knows when Josh Jacobs is coming back from his injury? And then looking at this, I trust the Packers to get the job done more than I do the Bears to do so, man, simply because of the guy that they acquired this past offseason who has been leading the Packers defense into a resurgence. That's Micah. Micah has been a difference maker for that defense. It hasn't resulted in a lot for the offense, mostly because of the inconsistencies and the injuries. But that Packers defense is one you cannot count out, man. I think that they're the only difference maker in this whole thing, enough to where they're going to rattle. It's enough to rattle Caleb Williams when they face up. I think if you put Caleb Williams under pressure, and especially in both games, he will mess up. And yeah, he can escape the pressure, but he hasn't always proven to be able to get the ball out efficiently enough when under pressure. So the pass rush is going to be the death of the Bears when they play in both games.
Listen, I hear that, but when I'm looking at the Bears, I'm seeing a Caleb Williams that's possibly on pace to actually break that 4,000-yard mark for the first time in Chicago's Bears history. I'm also looking at what is starting to develop as a two-headed monster in DeAndre Swift and Monangai, a thunder to lightning situation here. So I'm liking what they can bring. They have offensive weapons in the Doomsday. They have DJ Moore still. Loveland has started to really emerge as that number one tight end, if we're being honest, at the receiving threat. Luther Burden is starting to, or they're trying to incorporate him more into that offense, which they should have been doing. And Zlamade Zaccheaus is a great third receiving option. I think that this team has enough on offense, and the defense is shown to be opportunistic enough to make the stops and get the lucky picks or get the sack fumbles when they need it and finish this out. I believe in the Bears more than I do the Packers because I think they still have more and they're playing better football right now. It's November going into December. This is when you want to really be playing your best football. Not having the injuries, not having issues with who is still the number one guy. That's just me. But listen, we're going to go ahead because if we don't, we're going to be talking all day on, y'all. So we got to end this off right, y'all. You know how it is. The game picks time, baby. It's time for the game picks, y'all. So we're going to do a little different here. So we'll give everybody 3 minutes. We'll give everybody, actually, no, a little 3 minutes is too much. We're going to shorten this up, y'all. We're going to try to get these viewers out of here. We're going to give each other 90 seconds. Give me your game picks and your one explanation. Again, 90 seconds. Give me your game picks and your one explanation. So, Juan, lead it off for us. What is your game picks?
Like I said, Chicago over Pittsburgh. I think New England beats Cincinnati. Detroit over New York. Green Bay over Minnesota. Seattle over Tennessee. The Ravens over the Jets. Cleveland over Vegas. Jacksonville over Arizona. Philly over Dallas. Atlanta over New Orleans. The Rams over Tampa Bay. The 49ers over Carolina. And then my explainer game is going to be Indianapolis versus Kansas City. I think this is going to be a Jonathan Taylor bonanza. I think that it's going to be not only a bonanza, but a big test to see whether or not he's worthy of the MVP hype. You are facing against one of the best defensive tackles in Chris Jones down the middle, and as well as George Karlaftis on the edge, enough to seal you in. Can Jonathan Taylor elevate this Colts offense enough to get them over the hype against the former Super Bowl champions? That's what I'm really interested to see. And also Daniel Jones, can you game manage enough where you're not overthinking going to go up against Steve Spagnuolo, because Spagnuolo eats mediocre quarterbacks for breakfast? I still don't think that Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I think he's being heavily supported by a great offense and a great offensive mind in Steichen. It's going to be the Jonathan. It's going to be it's going to be New Jersey's game. And ultimately, at the end of it all, I think he'll go over 200 yards against the Chiefs.
What? What do we say hot take?
yards and 3 tutties, 203 tutties for John.
Oh, we say hot takes, y'all. We bring them hot takes back, man. 203 tutties.
3 tutties. That streak gonna go. I am for him to win the MVP this year, man. I'm for a running back to win it. This is not a quarterback award. This doesn't have to be a quarterback award.
There it is. You want to follow up? Because I don't want to follow up.
I'm gonna say this. He struggled against Pittsburgh. He might struggle against Kansas City, and I have him in one of my fantasy leagues, so I want him to do well. But I'm gonna go into mine. Patriots, Bengals. Obviously, I'm riding with Coach Vrabel to the wheels fall off, taking the Patriots. Colts, Chiefs. I think the Colts come in there and smack Pat Mahomes in the mouth. I think Daniel Jones has a good, solid game. Steelers, Bears. I'm gonna take the Bears on this one. I think they keep the momentum going. Jets, Ravens. I think this game is going to be closer than a lot of people think, but ultimately I trust Lamar over Tyrod. Seahawks, Titans. This might be a trap game for the Seahawks, but ultimately I think they get the win. Vikings, Packers. I'm taking Packers. Giants, Lions. Another tough game, but I think the Lions make it out. I think the Lions win on a field goal. Jaguars, Cardinals. I'm going to take the Jaguars on that one. Browns, Raiders. I'm going with the Browns. Falcons, Saints. I'm going to take the Saints on this one. Eagles, Cowboys. Dak and his record against the NFC at home. Can't bet against that. I'm going to take the Cowgirls. Buccaneers, Rams. This has potential to be the game of the week. I'm going to take the Rams just because they're home. 49ers, Panthers. My explanation game real quick. I'm going to do it. I'm taking the Panthers to go in. I think it's their first primetime game in a very, very long time. I think Bryce Young has a swagger. He has confidence. I think the defense just makes it really hard for Christian McCaffrey and that 49ers offense to get anything going. I think the Panthers win on a game-winning field goal, and they move to 7-5. Yes. Shout out to them boys in Carolina, man.
Okay. All right. So we out here just spitting fire. That's what we doing this morning. I love it, y'all. I'm loving it.
Start the Saturday off right, man.
Got to, man. Got to. So we want to start off. Let me give you my game pick. So, Eagles, Cowboys. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I can't pick. I as much as I understand the record, it's the Cowgirls. I can't. Eagles over the Cowgirls. I don't know. Danny Dimes ain't been doing the thing. You feel me? So I'm not too sure about that. But my thing would be this. At the end of the day, I really do believe. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts. I'm gonna let the Colts rock. So Colts over the Chiefs. I'm gonna go Bears over the Steelers. I'm gonna go Patriots over the Bengals. Ravens over the Jets. Seahawks, I see it. It could be a trap game. But I'm gonna go with Seahawks. Vikings, Packers. I'm gonna go Packers on this one. I do think they split it, but they're at home. So Packers on this one. Lions versus Giants. I'm going with the Lions. Jags versus Cards is going to be my explanation game because you took my actual one. So Browns, Raiders are going to be my next. I'm going with Shador. I got to go with Shador on this one. Falcons versus the Saints. I'm going to go with the Saints only because Penix ain't there, and I believe that, Penix is really a really big thing. Bucks versus the Rams. The Rams is cooking right now. I can't go against them. They're going to be, for me, the game there. And then 49ers versus Panthers. All the reasons you said, that's going to be a great game. I do have the Panthers winning too, man. I got the Panthers. I think it's going to really hurt for the seedings, and I really think that's going to matter later on for the playoff race. But my explain game real fast was the Cardinals and the Jets. Now, yes, the Cardinals is not doing too well. I understand that. But the Cardinals versus the Jags? Sorry, the Cardinals versus Jags. Jags have been up and down all year. They started off hot. They've been middling so far. Yes, they beat the brakes off of the Chargers, but the week before that, they looked average at best. And they won based off that running game. I don't believe that running game is as consistent as we would like to see it. So I'm gonna actually go right now with an upset. I believe in Jacoby Brissett. I like what he's been doing. He's been producing, and he's been running that offense extremely well when needed. So I'm gonna pick the Cardinals for this one. Might be a little bit of hot take, might be going a little bit crazy, but I like my chances. And I'm gonna bet that the Jaguars continue this up and down season and make that division more of a 2-horse race than a 3-horse race. Because I really, really like the idea of the Texans and the Colts being the top 2 teams from that division. Just saying.
Y'all convinced me. I'm switching 2 of my picks over. I'm switching over to the Cards and to the Panthers. On both those things, man, because that is some intense convincing. Like this season of the NFL has been anything but consistent, and upsets are ripe around, gentlemen. So yeah, I'll switch over my picks. I'm going with Arizona and with Carolina, with both of you guys taking that.
Plus, let's not forget, y'all. Jacoby Brissett did just set the completion highest 47 completions in a single game.
Mama,
You get a catch. You get a catch. You get a catch.
Whew.
You get a completion. You get a completion. Come down. You get it.
That's something you gotta commend me for, man. So I'm gonna roll with the hot guy, man. I'm gonna roll with the hot hand. So that is going to end it for us, unless we got any hot takes, y'all. We got any crazier hot takes? So we're already a little spicy today.
I got one. It's not really a hot take, but it's gonna start. It's really gonna start a coaching carousel. I think when the Atlanta Falcons lose on Sunday, Raheem Morris, right, I believe it is, he's going to get fired on Monday and not be the coach for the Atlanta Falcons.
I am going down a similar path too, but it won't be a head coach. I think that when the Raiders offense only goes for about 80 yards passing and maybe 20 yards rushing, Chip Kelly's out of there. I think Chip Kelly gets fired after going against the Browns. If you lose against the Browns, you deserve to get fired.
You really think they're gonna let him go?
Have you seen what he's been doing?
He can't do anything.
And
he gotta go. Get him out of there.
Offense, and you can't get either of them going in this offense. Are you kidding me? I know that Geno said that you can place all the blame on him, but this is not his fault. I will not blame Geno Smith for the inconsistencies of Brock Bowers and Ashton.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't like Chip Kelly. I think he needs to be fired, but I don't think they're going to do it to the end of the year. So if you telling me he's coming out, I'm going to sip on it. I'm going to sip on it with my smile, my coffee, and my tea. Just happy Tim D. What we talking, man?
Yeah. You sipping on it? I'll sip on it with the lights on, man.
Oh, listen, here we go. Ravens, you know what it is. Oh, man. We a little hot here today. It's a little hot in here today. So I got one for y'all. The Saints blow out the Falcons. So we can get this started. The Saints blow out the Falcons because I don't believe, and I'm going to say it right now. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. I believe Kirk Cousins is going to look as old and as hurt as can be. He's been on that bench, not doing nothing. I don't believe in him, and I do believe that the weapons he has is going to reduce. But I do believe that they will be blown out by these Saints.
For that game either.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to go off, but it ain't going.
No, he's not playing. He's out. He ain't out.
Penix's out for the whole year, bro.
Saints by 3 scores. Sorry, Avery. Your team is not there right now. All right, Saints by 3 scores.
There's a lot of things I don't trust about the Atlanta Falcons, but I do believe that they have some semblance of a defense. Not a great one, but there's a semblance of one. You're going up against a Saints offense led by Tyler Shough, of 25-year-old rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And your best receiver is Chris Olave after you traded Rashid Shaheed over to the Saints. and Alvin Kamara's an aging dinosaur in the backfield. You're telling me that's the
Let me
offense
tell
that's
you what it's
blow
gonna
out
be.
the
No, I'm
Falcons?
gonna tell you what
That
it's gonna be right now. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna be right now.
I have Chris Olave on my
Wait.
fantasy team.
Chris Olave is gonna have 2 scores.
No,
Chris Olave, 2
No.
scores.
no, you don't.
Jawan Johnson, their tight end, will have 1. They're going to have 2 by Alvin Kamara, and they're going to have 1 sneaky surprise one by the one, the only, the most versatile in this entire league, Mr. Taysom Hill.
Oh.
Yeah, we getting real crazy and spicy in here today. I'm just saying.
It's all so believable, but I don't want to believe it.
Look, this is how I've been feeling all year. So when I say this, I'm telling you from experience, the craziness is not stopping this year. It's not. But
I love how 2 of our hot takes involve 2 people getting fired, and one of them's a
listen, one gonna kick it off. I'm kicking off this firing session, y'all. But listen, we gonna stop here. We're gonna stop here before we get a little too crazy. And we're gonna end it off with thank you, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us with the Air It Out podcast. Please go ahead and make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, turn that notification bell on so y'all can be here. We love the people that was in the comments today. I mean, so I'm not Avery, y'all. We not doing this whole, we gonna pat the ball, we gonna do all of that, right? So we gonna end it off nicely. We gonna talk like gentlemen, right? We gonna talk about how the AFC East, I mean, it's not really that good. There's only like one really good team in there. I mean, I'm just saying, it's only really one good team. Can
As long as you put respect on our name, that's all that matters.
Support that the Miami Dolphins on a
No, I'm not saying this only one. I'm not saying the one. It might be you. It might be him. I'm not saying the one. No.
That you just have to
defense.
I still believe to it.
That's all you gotta know. That's all you need to know. He's getting MVP on the roll. I don't want the MVP. I want to win Super Bowl MVP. That's what I want him to win. He wins Super Bowl